Welcome to the Power of Lifting podcast. I'm EricCafferty, owner of the Mecca Gym. I am a strength and conditioning coach and a contest prep specialist. The focus of this podcast is to dive into the mindset and the drive of people who have done incredible things with their lives. Welcome to the Power of Lifting podcast with the amazing Zach Pulkinen. Welcome.
How are we doing?
Classic physique extraordinaire.
That's right.
And
coming right off a show season. This will be
right.
exciting.
Fresh off the show. Yeah.
Fresh off the shelf and the maker of all the gains. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good to be on.
So Zach has a few titles held at the Mecca, one of them being best dressed and probably biggest shoe collection.
Oh, that's
going to go out on a limb.
About that.
Yes,
I don't know
hands down.
Okay, so before we get into anything serious, what are we at for shoe collection? I'm just curious.
Oh God, I haven't counted in a while.
That's when you know it's bad.
I'm currently in the doghouse, to be honest, because so when I'm on prep, obviously I'm a foodie. You guys know that, and you can't have the sweets and the burgers and the pizza you want. So what I do to cope with that is I order shoes.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, I mean, it could be worse, right? But
there are worse things.
I tell my wife, it could be worse. But
he doesn't have a drug problem.
I mean, I'm always on Nike.com. I recently got into the GOAT app and StockX, where you can actually bid on shoes. And my problem that happened was I bid on a ton of shoes and they got accepted. So I'm sitting there, woke up one morning, and this is like 2-3 weeks out of show, and I'd already gotten shoes showing up like every week. And I woke up with a notification and said 5 of my offers got accepted. And then I went, oh shit, and I quickly told Laura, like, hey, I'm done buying shoes, just the ones that show up, they already got ordered. So I quickly deleted most of my offers. But literally when we got back from the show, this last show, I had 3 boxes sitting on the counter. I had 3 boxes show up the day we got back, and 3 show up yesterday, and there's 2 more on the way. And she doesn't know about the 2 on the way, so we'll keep that on.
We'll keep that down.
We'll keep that on the DL.
But I told her, show's over, and I'm done buying shoes for a while. So hopefully I can stick to that.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah,
that's right. So where'd the obsession with the shoes come from?
Man, ever since I can remember, it's always been Nike. Everyone knows me. It's all Nike. And
I was also a huge Nike fan as a kid. Like when you play sports,
Yeah, my parents. I mean, Dad was a big MJ fan. And Andre Agassi. I was born in Vegas, and Agassi. He's a Vegas guy. My parents actually went to church with him. And
that's a small world.
Yeah, one of Nike's first athletes. And it's just. Looking at pictures and stuff, but parents always got me Nike, and I always had like the little Nike shoes on, and I guess it just stuck really. And I have a narrow foot. Anyone that knows Nike knows if you have a fat foot, you're not wearing Nike unless you're getting extra wides. But it's always Nike, man. It's more so sportswear than Jordan. I do appreciate the Jordans. I have a couple, but it's always been just the Nike sportswear, and with the gym scene, I always like to mix it up, and I try and rotate all of them, but I do have my favorites for sure.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
The Janoskis, bro. It's all about the Janoskis.
Yeah. I think Eric might have seen it. He's been over to the house a few times, but yeah, that weird space above the stairs in some houses where it's like kind of open and it's not like big enough to do a living room, but you don't know what to do. That's lined with shoes. Laura on one side and me on the other.
Okay, so she's contributing to this. This is
I keep telling her I'm trying to catch her up, and if I if I really want a pair of shoes, I just know I'll order her a pair of the same, and then I'm not in
Right.
trouble as much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Right. It's a
yeah, I get
balancing
her a
act.
pair too.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are for you. Like,
Yeah,
And
I
got
try
myself a
to
pair.
do that with guns, but it doesn't really work out very well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
He-
honey, here I
Yeah.
got you. She's like, what?
She's like, oh, you got yourself 2
Yeah.
guns.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's exactly.
Yeah. It works
So-
out good. It does. It does.
Well,
That's great.
yeah, because you can't really like get sizes with guns.
No,
you
yeah.
know, so
it's
it's like, yeah, you're just buying yourself something. But what I did one year was I got her a Glock, and I had MCM Firearms Cerakote it like Tiffany blue,
there you
and
go.
did like gold and Tiffany blue.
Yeah.
So
Little
it's,
bougie
it's
for
very
Casey.
yes, it's very bougie. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not carrying that.
No,
thing. It's,
no.
you
And
know,
she'll
perfect.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, well, yeah. So on to some more serious stuff. So Zach, you and Laura, how long ago did you guys move to town here?
I think this will be
you going on
year 3 or 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say like
I think 4. Start of 4.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
something like that. Yeah, and so we started working together. Man, like when did you guys start working at the gym?
Man, so it's weird. I actually visited a couple times, and because I was applying to jobs here, and I had actually became friends with one of the members here, Mitch Bulky, which you
Oh,
know.
yeah.
Yep, and he's like, dude, come check out the Mecca, and I did. And you were actually working that day, and introduced myself to you, and from that day forward, I was like, this is a spot right here. But we ended up both getting jobs. Laura with St. Luke's,
Yep.
me with Micron, and we'd always been Mecca members, and then Casey got us our first and second house, so that was huge, and then just grew into the Mecca family, and we'd already been training clients, and started the team IYCYM out in North Dakota, and kind of brought it this way, and got settled, and knew we wanted to do some sort of personal training and coaching, and that's when we approached you guys and had that serious talk there.
Yeah. No, and it's been great. It's funny. Just meeting like-minded people, and I can honestly say like that was totally felt comfortable with you guys right off the bat, just because we like from a philosophical level like think the same in a lot of things, especially like contest prep, weight training, things like that. Like
Exactly.
You guys are, and Laura's of course been on the podcast, but just doing using health first approach, but also not being a huge sissy. So I feel like a lot of people that do prep, if they're like a very health conscious kind of approach, their athletes tend to look like crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's straight
Well,
up.
it's like a super conservative. I feel like where it's like you're not.
Yeah, it's like, oh, don't push it too hard.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
you go to that level, it's like,
Yeah.
well, no. I mean, you just go into it with the understanding that like, the last little bit is not necessarily going to be good for your health.
Nope. It's going to be way outside the comfort zone,
Yep.
which is what you want to get the best look. So
Exactly.
We
part of the
definitely
sport.
agree on that.
But anyway, yeah, so it's just been awesome to have you guys, and really just watch you guys grow and have a ton of success at the gym, and then also just with your training style. I really like the way you specifically work really well with athletes, and you get a lot of people that like personal train, and it's like they're not, you can just tell they're not really hands-on with their athletes, and like you see their people doing stuff in the gym, and it's like not here. I won't say that about anybody here, because I would say everybody is relatively on it and really invested in their people, and form and technique. But I think you kind of take it to another level in terms of like really driving things into like specifically, this is how you need to do it, this is how intensely you need to do it.
the details.
Yeah, the details. So I really, really appreciate that. But so how did you get into both competing and then training people?
Yeah.
Well, I've always been an athlete. So I played soccer. That's actually, how I fell in love with the Boise area. Was we were stationed in Mountain Home several different times because both parents were active duty Air Force, and sports in Mountain Home is trash. So I had literally, my parents bought me a car, and every single day I would drive from Mountain Home to Meridian to, back then it was Capitals, now it's like Timbers. And I would practice just because I grew up, we got to live in Germany 3 years, and I would solely relate that to why I was halfway decent at soccer, because Europe versus us is totally different.
Just a new level.
And I wish I would have had longer there. I would have probably done soccer for longer, but yeah, I was pretty good. So I played on the Capitals team up in Boise, loved it. I went to college my first year out at College of Idaho on a scholarship to play soccer. And then I really had to have a coming to Jesus moment. Like when you grow up and you're an athlete, you obviously, the goal is, hey, I want to play professional.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And not everyone does that. It's like 1%, right?
Yeah, it's very low.
So you have to literally have that talk. Like, okay, is this really going to happen? And I did. And it was just like, I wasn't good enough. And like, what are you going to do? Play in the MLS for $30,000 a year? Like, unless you're the top, you ain't getting paid. Yeah. So I had to have that talk. And then, so I was just 1 year into college. I had played football in high school, and that was super easy because I had a huge leg for ever since I can remember. So coach asked me in high school, hey, just don't come to practice, just come to the games. Literally just kick off, put it in the end zone. That's all I want. It's like, cool, showed up, boom, crush it.
Jersey's
like,
up.
yeah. And I should have punted too, but I never did that. But a couple teams wanted me, or a couple schools wanted me to play football for them and just kick, right? They needed a big leg. So I should have done that looking back, but I actually transferred to a small school in northern Minnesota called Bemidji State University.
Oh, I've heard of that, yeah.
And they had actually wanted me out of high school, and they're like, cool, you can walk on, like, earn a spot. And I did. Like, I just took a chance, like, hey, maybe I can, make 3 years, maybe see what the NFL looks like and how good I am. And actually worked my ass off, pretty much self-taught. We didn't, because D2 doesn't have a kicking or a punting coach.
Right.
No, forget about it.
No, yeah. Taught myself how to punt. I spent the money, went and trained with the top coaches in the U.S., went to all these camps, combines, and by the my last year, my senior year, I was a 3-team All-American for punting.
Oh, nice.
And went out to Seattle, paid for the regional combine, crushed it, got invited to the super region out in Detroit, and I just chunked it. Absolutely friggin' chunked it.
No.
And it was weird is because the mindset, I'd never been in that much pressure where you're in Detroit, you're in Ford Field in Detroit, and you look right in the first row there's every single NFL team represented, scouts and GMs, and I just never had that much pressure. I'm a D2. I'm this small school dude. Like I'm just still like, wow, this stadium's awesome. Like, I'm just super stoked to be here, right? And it was shitty, man, because they broke out brand new balls, so no play with them at all. And like that's cool for the quarterbacks and stuff, but they literally brought out brand new balls and had us break them in for the quarterbacks the next day.
Oh,
so you have a rock hard ball, and where in college I have like 3 or 4 balls sitting there, and when fourth down, you give the ball to the ref. That's the ball I want to punt. Same with NFL guys. If you see them, they have a ball. That's my ball I'm kicking, and it's perfect, right? You're used to it. Well, no, we're kicking rocks essentially, and we're going live under snap. And I had a shitty snap where I caught 2 balls over my head. And it was just, like, not the best scenario. And, like, literally when you're there in front of all those guys, you have to have a 4-second hang, like 50-plus yards, like, perfect, right? And it just wasn't. It didn't happen. Actually, nobody on that day hit good balls at all. It was kind of embarrassing, to be honest. But the balls played into it. The snappers played into it. It is what it is. But no, did all that, made a good run at the league, played a little professional indoor while I spent another year trying to go to the league. yeah, just I had to have that talk again, that coming to Jesus.
Yep.
Say, we're not going to do this. So I got a chemistry degree. I was thankful for that, and then so I stopped all that, and my buddy was like, hey, why don't you come work for us in the oil field, use your chemistry degree? And I was like, cool. But when I stopped playing sports, it was like, what do I have to work towards now?
Yeah.
And like the gym was my escape. Like I could never just stop that. So I was always in the gym, right? Actually in college, me and my roommate, just meatheads, we got in trouble for lifting before games because we just wanted to be jacked, right? Just tight sleeve, just jacked. So we got in trouble because yeah. So we got in trouble because coach found us in the weight room before the game. He's like, yeah, let's not do that. Wait till after the game. But no, the gym was always my escape, and it's like, okay, well, I want to get bigger, and then always bodybuilding. Like my dad grew up like looking at guys like Jay. Jay was big when my dad was lifted. My dad, he's a meathead too, so it kind of stuck with that, and he taught me so much and like a solid foundation,
Yeah.
And then I was like, what do we do now? Just go to the gym? And what was weird, right around that time that I was like, what's this competing bodybuilding thing, is when I met Laura, and she's like, this was literally first month, started dating. That's a long story. Started dating.
I've heard it. It's a good story.
It's a good one, yeah. Started dating, and then she's like, I'm going to do a show, because she was a full-time trainer at a big gym out in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And she's like, I'm going to do it. It's good for marketing. I want to push myself. And I was like, I'm in. Like, I'm not going to do a show, but let me diet with you, and I'll do a photo shoot with you. So cool. And, like, that was it. Like, I was hooked from there. It was
What
hard.
year was that?
Wow, look at that.
Oh, man, that was like, I want to say 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
2015.
2015, cool. Laura did. She coached herself. It was really trial and error of reading and researching and seeing what works, talking to people on Instagram. She did her whole prep on her own, and like I dieted too. It was cool. It was a really cool experience, and like I said, it was something that I knew right then that like it was like the 1%, right? The 1% goes to the league. The 1% can do, literally only 1% can do these shows good and like diet down and not cheat on your diet and all that. And it's hard, and that's why I like it. It's super hard to push yourself, and I was hooked. So the next one is she did another show, I think, and I was on that one. That's funny. I was dirty bulking hard to gain weight.
Buddy.
I would be crushing like family-sized bagel bites, and she would be in the kitchen like chicken and spinach. Yeah. I felt so bad, but I was crushing it. Right?
Dude, I mean, you got to put weight on.
Yeah, but then,
What did you start out at in terms of like body composition when you were done playing football and started transitioning to this?
Oh man,
there you go.
I was end of soccer going into football. I was 175.
Yeah, buddy.
And I could run all day, like just shredded, right? No real muscle, really. Just could run all day. But then I gained 20 pounds my first year football. It was a good cafeteria, for sure.
There you go.
And they just stick you in the weight room.
Oh, yeah. And you're just
lifting all the things. Meatheading it.
Exactly.
Oh, exactly. I had put on 20, but I was like 200, and then I got to maybe 205, 210-ish, done with football, and it wasn't a good 205, 210. It was pretty fluffy. But then again, training was so different at like that football. Everything was explosive. Like I was powerful, man, but not strong per se, but like explosive, just ridiculous. And then that was a weird dynamic for me too, was to learn to slow everything down, jumping into full bodybuilding, like hypertrophy stuff.
Way different.
I feel like I'm still learning, like to just slow things down and feel
we
it.
all are.
You know what I mean? Yeah. See, you guys know.
Oh, yeah.
But it was the 205, not a good 205. Yeah. And then just before we started this last prep, I was 235.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. and that was decent. It was fluffy, but it was pretty big. So
It was a stout 235.
yeah,
Yeah, I would
yeah,
say.
right.
Yeah, it was a stout 235. How heavy you were when we were in Arizona in the springtime?
Yeah, around 225 to 230.
Yeah.
Was Arizona.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All the fluff. We like that.
We enjoyed some food. Yeah.
Gotta build the fluff.
Yeah, we like the off season around here.
Oh
Big
yeah.
time.
Yeah. You gotta embrace the off season.
Oh, dude.
To
Yeah.
grow, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, what did you end up at prep? This prep for body weight?
So the lowest I got was the second show was the morning before weigh-in, so the Friday morning of weigh-ins, and I got to 193.5. And I felt like shit.
Yeah, you were.
I was depleted.
You
I
were
was,
depleted.
It was
Yes, you
rough,
were.
yeah. And I think that just goes because like we didn't have a lot of time. I would have liked a longer prep, to be honest, just slower and less of a hard cut.
Yeah.
But working nights, I only have 4 months on days with a regular job, and so it kind of puts me in a hard place.
Yeah.
But it's just the things you learn, you
Yeah.
know.
Oh yeah.
So now I know I can't get that heavy.
Yeah, sometimes you got to make it happen.
You learn.
Though, you know.
Yeah.
And like to each their own too, right? You know, I think like for myself. So if we're speaking like purely on contest prep terms here, like for me, like I'm not gonna start a prep and go all the way from 240 to 195. Or 235 to 195
Right,
or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But I don't necessarily think that it's bad for those listeners out there. Like if you want to go, full bulk status, we'll call it. I don't think that's necessarily bad. I mean, to do what you were doing, like in my opinion, because it's not like you were fat. You weren't fat.
Yeah.
It's like there's a big difference. It's not like I'm telling like, oh, it's okay to go eat pizza and get chubby. Like that is not at all what I'm saying.
Time out. No.
Yeah. Definitely don't ever do that.
Yeah.
Like if you can't see abs like at all, you're probably heavier than you need to be. But I mean, I don't think that that's bad to really push, number one, your metabolic capacity, and you are going to gain the most muscle you possibly can doing that, but I agree too, like I personally would not want to go from that weight, my highest weight, to contest rate. It just drags prep out too long, and I think in that case I would probably do like a 2-part prep.
Yeah.
I would say, bulk up, get as heavy, as I think is necessary, and then basically do an easier mini prep kind of to get like halfway there, and then reset things, and then kind of do your actual prep later on. So like if somebody wanted to do that, obviously it takes a much, much longer time period. But it can be doable, obviously, what you did. It's just,
I think your body, the way you said it, is the way I ideally would like to do it.
Yeah.
It's just, life, right? You have to make it work for you, and everyone's different.
Exactly.
So, like, that way, your body would absolutely thank you, right?
Yes.
It's not super hard. You get a little bit of uptake in the middle, and then cruise back down in. The way I did it, we're slowly going down the whole way,
Yep.
And I feel like I lost a little bit of muscle size doing that-ish. I'd like to, ideally, 16 to 18 weeks, and that's what I like to put my clients through, because
I agree.
Let's lose as little muscle as you gained during your off season as possible, so nice and steady.
Exactly.
And we did a little bit quicker, but no, it was good. It worked for me, and we brought a good package on stage. It's just a few things different, but we did good.
Yeah, I think the one issue that people kind of notice if you have to cut into a show. So what I really like to do with people too is like, if you have time, and like you're saying, like life happens, like sometimes with people, I just like, it just takes longer to get them lean than I anticipated, or they just have more to lose than, and so you take that into account. You give yourself extra time, obviously, when you start an athlete's prep. But if at all possible, you plan to have, a couple of weeks before a show to where you're able to really like slow things down, get some refeeds and things like that. It really like, doing it to where you diet all the way into the show. Like I've done that a ton of times, and it's not wrong to do that.
And you learn a lot.
You do. But man, it can be hard to fill out. It really can be hard to fill out.
Yep.
Because a big guy is not going to fill out in, a day or even a couple days. It can take, literal weeks to really soak all that food in, especially because, just look at the digestion times of carbohydrates. You're 8 to 16 hours sometimes to get fully digested, right? So, it makes sense. Like it's the other tough thing too that, classic physique has to deal with, of course, is making weight. Got to make weight.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So for a particular height, what is your height? You're 5'9" 3/4
and a half.
5'9" and a half.
Yep.
And you were
197.
7's the cutoff. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think for my height, if I were to do it at 6 foot, it's like what, 210 or something?
Yeah.
It's like 210, 214 ish.
Okay.
Which is funny because I would make that right now, and I'm like in off season, so it's plenty of room for me.
Go.
That's what happens.
I'm curious what mine would be. Do you know what a 6'4" dude would need to weigh?
Oh, you're
like 220s, 230s.
Oh yeah,
Really?
Oh yeah. You could be pretty heavy.
Right on.
Yeah, there you go. Bulking season, Hunter.
But bulking season, no way.
Bulking
I'm
season.
I'm in the opposite of that right now. But we'll be back to that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Eric called me out on the podcast. a few weeks ago.
Zach, your shows obviously went really well. Took an overall in the first one in the Salt Lake. What was the name of that show?
The Viking Championships.
The Viking Championships. Yes, and then
questionable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want to call BS, but I'll kind of call BS. So on the second show, so not that, obviously Zach's my bro. Zach works for us here at the Mecca. Obviously we're tight and we want him to win, right? But here's the thing. So at the second show, they actually completely rejudged.
Scrapped
the morning.
For real.
And so in the morning time, it was kind of him and two other dudes. They were kind of circling around in the the middle three spots, basically, which basically means that obviously one of those guys. And to me, it was between Zach and this other guy that was bald with a mustache.
Yeah.
And they looked great, and there was another guy that was kind of in the mix, but not really. It was mainly between Zach and the other dude with a mustache. And Zach was way more conditioned and just more complete, especially from the backside.
Well, just looking at the pictures from the untrained eye of myself.
Yeah.
Honestly,
So
you could see that.
So I was like, I was like, I think you got this. Obviously I go to tons of shows, national shows, all that stuff. I watch a shit ton of shows. So, I typically know where the judges are going to put people and where they should be and all that stuff. So, I pretty much figured, he's got this class. So, cool. And then they got to the night show, and all the guys came out to do their routine, and one of the guys, the guy that really wasn't in the mix, and he was one of the three that was kind of rotating around with Zach and this other guy, but he didn't really look that good, in the morning, and at night he looked significantly better.
Oh.
Significantly better.
Yeah, he looked better.
But not like anything crazy. He was just a little bit sharper. Like in the morning, he hardly had separation in his quads.
Very soft. Bigger
soft.
guy. but very
really
soft.
really good shape, but yeah, soft. So, naturally a small waist, but not really that lean, for example, couldn't really see, no glutes at all. No, very soft
very
glutes.
little,
very little
no
ham.
hamstrings.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking I think my hams right now are probably as lean as his were on stage.
Oh, interesting.
Which, and I'm 20 pounds over stage weight. So if that goes to tell you anything, that's
Right.
how soft he was. Now, from the front, looked pretty good, thick. And at nighttime, his quads were well separated and things like that. So, significant improvements, but still. And anyway, long story short, they decided the head judge was like, we're going to rejudge this class tonight.
Why? Did they give a reason, or is that been
Well,
done
They
before?
can just do it.
That's
That's bodybuilding. They can just completely scrap it.
Yep. So they completely scrapped the morning, which they worked them in the morning, dude.
Harder than any class there.
Wow.
Bikini,
Yeah.
figure, bodybuilding, anyone. We were honest. Everyone's like, "Are you guys okay?"
Yeah.
There's some guys that went backstage and laid down and just passed out.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it was. It was significant.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, yeah, you're gonna be sore,
Well, I was. Yeah. I'm still sore. I feel like.
Sure.
And anyway, so they decided to rejudge the nighttime, and the guy that was super soft in the morning ended up taking it, and it still
So how much did he pay? That's what I want to know.
it still didn't make any sense to me, because even though he did look significantly better, I mean, it literally doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's a little bit
That's
of a bummer.
bodybuilding. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and what the most frustrating part of it was the feedback from the head judge, and this is an Olympia judge. This is his third year, got invited to this year's Olympia, and so I talked to him a couple times in the morning, and even before the show, he's like, "Oh, keep it tight. You're right there." And I was like, "Cool." I talking with Eric, who was there in the morning, and he's like, "Dude, it looks like you," because in the morning I held center stage longest.
Yeah.
And just from looking at pics, my back destroyed everyone.
destroyed.
And it was night and day.
Not
right?
even close.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, cool, I'm feeling confident. And so we, start pumping up and blah, blah, blah. And they oh, we're gonna, I hear him say, oh, we're gonna rejudge this class. And I'm like, great. So we went longer the second time.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. We went longer. I started all the way left, went middle, went center, went the other side, and then back to the other side of center. As we're doing all mandatories, all
mandatories each
all
time.
mandatories.
So what does all mandatories mean? All the ones that are required
for
for
classic
Right.
physique, you can name off. You do the four
quarter turns?
the 4 quarter turns. So you got front, side,
Yep.
back, other side, back to front, and then you do.
Usually they go straight into front double, and then side chest, and then they'll sometimes go ab thigh, and then they'll make you go turn around and do back double, and then come around again, and then favorite classic.
Okay,
It's
you pick
typically
that.
all of them. Yeah.
And then, so you're saying you were doing all those, and then switching
We
positions,
did
do
all
all
of them.
those, switch
Oh,
positions.
dude.
So-
oh my
They
god,
did all of them, at least 7 rounds the
Yeah.
second time,
and
probably.
we're sweating our tans off. You
Oh yeah.
you typically you can go to a lot of shows and never see that happen.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
It's ridiculous.
They'll do the symmetry round, and then they'll reorganize people, and then they'll go through poses once, maybe twice, and they're done.
Yeah, because in the afternoon, they should already know who won. So typically it goes.
Yeah, that's what I've
we
heard.
go
Oh
out.
yeah, that's in the morning.
Like the first show, I did where I won overall. Literally go out there, did a routine. Then when we were all done with the routines, we just side stage, whatever. You sit on a side, and they're like, "Okay, 4th place, 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. Good." Then you won, and then I won, so I went into overall. No, not the case. We did it, and then they're like, "Okay, line back up. Here we go again."
oh my
Yep.
gosh.
So that was,
pretty nuts.
I knew we were in for work when I heard, oh, we're going to rejudge this class.
That's
Yeah.
savage.
So
Yeah.
back to when this is all over, I got second to the guy, and then talked to the judge. So I said, hey, let me get some feedback. He's like, okay, in the morning, you won. And I was like, awesome. Like, that's
the worst
awesome.
thing to
He's
say to
like,
me right now.
yeah, he's like, the guy who won was in 3rd place this morning. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And the other mustache guy, bald mustache guy, me and him were close, but he said I won the morning. Cool. So, yeah, and then he's like, he came back. The guy that was in 3rd came in a little tighter. I wanted to rejudge. He said, you still won everything from the back. He said, my 2 poses I could have done better were front double. He said he wanted bigger arms, which is fine because the guy that won was very thick upper, a big chest, not striated, not conditioned, just big. Big arms, okay? So fair enough. And then my side chest, he said I could have opened up more. But where I was thinking, he told me I was the most conditioned and the other guys weren't bigger than me, and I won everything from the back. So by majority rules, I would have thought, okay,
Yeah.
but
So, you know, and part of the reason why I bring that up was obviously, you know, Zach's very frustrated. I'm very frustrated by it, but
I'm frustrated
you know,
now. Thanks,
yeah,
guys.
thanks a lot.
Yeah.
But that's, you know, right after the fact, you know, I basically asked Zach, I'm like, yeah, how you feeling about that? And he's like, well, that's the sport of bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a good answer because that's the damn truth right there.
I mean, control you can control is always what I tell my clients, and what I have to also, you know, believe in, and it's bring your best package. You cannot control the judges.
Nope.
Sorry. Like, you just can't.
You can even win in the morning and not in the evening, apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah, which is exactly what happened.
So, yeah.
Like,
No, it's good. And yeah, I mean, me and Eric talked extensively about it, and it puts a chip on my shoulder for this off season.
for sure.
And gives me motivation. Like, if I would have won that, I would have a different mindset. Like, oh, this is cool. Like, you know,
2
revel in it.
overalls in a season. Sweet. Must
deal.
be doing good.
Super cool, right? But no, now we got work to do. So,
But still doing
it was
really
good.
well. That's the thing too. Like, that's still the championship mindset, and kind of what, like, going to your brand, the IYCYM. Kind of where did that come from too? Because what you're saying is all these principles kind of, I think, can be summed up in that.
Yeah.
So what does that mean, and where did that come from?
You know, IYCYM, for those of you that don't know, means if you can, you must. And where it comes from is I was playing professional indoor, and we were in Green Bay, Wisconsin, playing there. I forget what their team was, but anyways, we were playing them, and they had a motivational speaker come in, and he was talking about, you know, football being a game of inches, and he said, you know, if you can get 5 inches on a run and dive, you must. If you can, you know, make a shoestring tackle, you must. And it was just like, wow, I really like that. Like, if you can do it, you have to. There's no
Take
other
every inch.
there's
right?
no other thing but to do it. Like,
Yeah.
you have to. And so I was like, wow, that's like pretty crazy. And that kind of stuck with me throughout the game. I ended up winning the game on a field goal. So that was like, I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. Like, okay. And the whole time I was thinking, like, okay, I have this opportunity. I have to capitalize it. If I can, I have to. I must. So it was super cool. And that's right around the time I met Laura, and she's like, okay, with this training company, we need a name. And I was like, what about, you know, if you can, you must fitness. Like, we'll shorten it, but like, you know, if you can get an extra rep, if you can hit your macros perfect, you must. Like, there's no other options,
Right.
but to do it. And
Right.
that just really like kind of stuck, and kind of something that we embody, you know, at the end of the day, is kind of a reminder, like, when shit gets hard, especially on prep, like, if you can, are you capable of it, then you have to do it. It doesn't matter if you want to.
Yeah.
Want is out the window.
Right.
Yeah.
It's, if you can do it, you have to do it.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
You know, and that just stuck, and that's what Team IYCYM is, you know.
Yeah. No, and I feel 100% about that statement, because there's just too many people that, you know, just let things go by. They let opportunities pass, you know, and it's like, if you have opportunities in front of you, like, all of us have opportunities that are sitting in front of us every day. And, you know, I feel like with that mantra, you know, you can't you can't let opportunities pass you by, man. I mean, life's too short, number one, but you know, if you want to achieve your goals, you have to, and that's in any aspect, but especially fitness. Like, you can't just, you know, ding dong around. You can't just, you know, waste time, right? You know, if you have weight to lose, or if you have muscle to build, or if you have, you know, your health to get back, or you have a show to do, or you know, whatever, it's like, I mean, you gotta take those opportunities, you know, that you have, and take advantage, or else those opportunities might not come back around.
Yeah, you
know?
sometimes you get one shot at it, you know, and that's it. So it's like, you gotta go. Get out of the comfort zone, and it doesn't matter fitness or whatever. Business, home, like, if you can to make something better in your life, you must do it.
I like how it kind of cuts out the middle thought, though. It's just like, oh, okay, so like an opportunity arises, like, I can do it. There's the opportunity. Well, I must do it, instead of I can, should I, could I, how I, whatever.
Exactly.
There's there's straight line you got to,
and then you figure it out and you do it.
I think there's a lot to be said about just not thinking about things, and just like, there's things that you know that you should do, and it's just like, why not just do them? For example, you know, packing your food. Like, I mean, there's just things that you got to do to be successful, right? Like, you meal prep, like, you got to have your food ready to go. Like, you know, you're getting on stage in X amount of, weeks. I mean, you can't just show up to work and not have your food ready, you know? So absolutely. It's that, you know, that hard stuff, that dedication. I mean, I think I watched you eat pretty damn plain chicken and rice for the last couple of months at least.
It was pretty plain there for the last 6 and in.
So it's like, you know, and sometimes that's just what you got to do. You know, some people like to, you know, try and be a little bit more creative with food and all that jazz, but I mean, when it really comes down to it, you look at the people who are like dangerously successful at competing or what they're doing, they don't care. You just buckle your seatbelt and get her done.
It's not even a thought. It's just like, that's happening.
Right.
And that's so contagious to see people like that. And the more you can surround yourself with people like that, it's awesome. You know, but like you said, like, people that are good at their craft in this industry, and it's like, oh, what are you doing? Oh, you do the same thing over and over, and you're perfect at it. Weird. Why? Wonder why you're successful.
Exactly.
You know, you don't skirt anything.
Exactly. Oh, you're not getting into the cookie jar late at night. You're not, you know,
that's a thing, man.
Skimping on training sessions. You know what I mean? I mean, it happens everywhere, I'm sure. But you know, you're never gonna see Zach, you know, working out in the gym and like just, you know,
half-assed,
just like whatever about things. Like, you know, when he's lifting, it's like, it's very obvious, like, he is training. Don't go, you know, don't go bother him. Like, especially like when somebody's like, you know, 6 weeks out from a show and in, it's like, please don't bother that person while they're lifting.
Unless you've gone through it. That was a big thing. Like, I could talk to people that knew what state I was in. Like you knew what state I was in, so you could match my energy level. But when my energy level was off to someone like coming in like super, I had to be like, I'm not talking to you. Like, we're not compatible right now. Just let me do my thing. But if you were in that state with me at some point or another, like, we were okay.
And people that know, like, there's, you know, people that know what you're going through when you're really kind of digging into the depths. There's like a lot of respect that's, you know, kind of mutually there. But the other thing is too, like, somebody like, you know, myself or one of the other people that, you know, may have wanted to talk to you around here that have been there before, they can relate to you, and they're like, okay, well, I'm just not gonna talk to him right now, because like, I wouldn't want somebody to talk to me in that instance. Like,
it's
like,
just
I don't want to bug somebody, whereas other people, you know, they just don't know necessarily. Like,
and it's no fault to them, they just haven't been there yet. you know.
Yeah. And they will get there eventually.
They will experience it.
But that's what's so cool about this place, though, too, is like, you know, a lot of our people here can see you going through that, and they're like, oh, I want to learn from that guy, you know, because competing, obviously, you have a very successful season. You looked phenomenal. Like, I mean, you're basically a celebrity at the pool on Sunday, which was awesome.
That's good times.
But yeah, I mean, people see that, see the way you look, see the dedication, and then, you know, see that pay off for you. And I think that's just a really cool thing to be able to, you know, display that, and then, you know, coach others through, you know, hey, this is how it's done. This is how we do it. This is, you know.
And that's one thing that I pride myself on coaching is, like, I'll never ask a client to do anything that I haven't done already. So I've been through shit harder than you if I'm asking you to do this.
Yeah.
So just know, like, and I have that talk with everyone. Like, this is going to be hard. I've been there. You can do it.
Yep.
That's it. So that's, like, I couldn't give someone something that I haven't done yet.
Yeah.
Like, just because that's not, I don't believe in that.
I'm fully on board with that. It's like some of the things that we've done as coaches, just to have been there, can be a little bit ridiculous. Like just experimenting with super low carb levels,
100%.
which we were talking about not too long ago. It's just funny, you know, the kind of like extreme carb depletion, put yourself through, just so that you know what it's like when you get to certain levels. Like basically when you reach the death level, you kind of know like what that feels like. Okay, like I don't have enough carbohydrates to survive, you know. But it goes for any craft too. Like, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, train somebody that I don't feel comfortable like in a situation that I can't relate to them. You know what I mean? I think that it's just, you know, kind of crazy when people try and give super high level guidance to people when they've never done anything like that before, never experienced it before. It still kind of, you know, blows my mind. And even if they have, like, it's like, you know, not to rag on people, but I mean, there's coaches out there that it's like, oh yeah, I competed 30 years ago and I, you know, did okay at a local like show, and like that qualifies me to coach, you know,
exactly.
There's levels
people
to it.
You know, the athletes to do that, and it's like, well, you know, that is not the case. But
No,
I think that it's very, very valuable. All the experience that you've had goes into, I mean, and it just shows your passion too. You know what I mean? Like you can't fake passion, especially when it comes to coaching, you know, and coaching physique athletes, especially. Like, you know, it's, I would never hear or see one of your athletes feeling like they're not getting the attention they deserve and things like that. Just, you know, you can just tell all of your people are really well tuned, well cared for, things like that, and that's huge. You know, it's just huge.
With a lot of pride. There's a whole lot of pride coming from that.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, Zach, we're gonna have you on again. This has been good. I love a little post show season recap. We have a lot more to talk about, so everybody be looking out for part numero dos of Zach Pulkinen on the Power of Lifting podcast. But do you have anything else you want to get out there to the kind people of the podcast world?
I don't. It was a good first run, and I'm excited to get back on here.
Yeah, we'll get back on, talk shop, talk a little bit more about some of our famous powerlifting questions. And everybody have a great week, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for joining us on the Power of Lifting podcast. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. For more content like this, follow Eric Cafferty and the Mecca Gym on all social media platforms.